So Tina's getting a sample here of the salicylic acid for a melting point, and she's going to make sure she does that before it gets used in the reaction. So this is the beginning of part 2, and we're going to turn this salicylic acid into aspirin. So what we're going to do is we've got 1.99 grams of salicylic acid, and it said in the lab manual though that you needed 5 grams, and I don't think anybody's going to have 5 grams, so we're going to have to proportion out the acetic anhydride accordingly. Now, according to the lab, we needed 10 mils of acetic anhydride for 5 grams of salicylic acid. So if we've got 2 grams, then around about 4.0 mils is what we would need for the acetic anhydride. We're going to go ahead and add the salicylic acid to the flask. We're using 125 here. If you use 125 or something smaller, she's just going to try and stuff that down in there, and then we can rinse in the remainder with the acetic anhydride.
Should I rinse this?
Yeah, you can too. You can rinse that as well if you want. Try and get as much as you can out first, and that's what you've done. It's good. Okay, now she's going to add, say, about half of it to the beaker. I know it's only a small amount there, so. But she's just using that to sort of rinse out the beaker, and she'll use it to rinse out the. There we go. That's good. And then the rest of it, you can just go ahead and add that into the funnel. There we go. So the next step then will be to add 3 to 4 drops of concentrated sulfuric acid. We'll do that in the fume hood. So sulfuric acid here is in acid dropping bottles. We've used acid dropping bottles before, and you'll notice that there's a little nub at the top. Could you point to the nub? There we go. So that's going to have to be in line with the little channels that are on the side there. If you could point out the channel, yeah, there we go. So those need to be in line with each other. And now what Cassie's going to do is she's going to pour 4 drops into her flask. And the way she'll do that is she'll put her finger on top of the stopper. There we go, like that. And then just lean it over. As long as that's in line, then it should just drop out automatically. Don't take the lid off. Okay, there we go. 4 drops. We're done. And she's got a stirring rod there, and she's going to start stirring that solution. Now what's going to happen is that initially the solution will turn colorless, and then at some point the aspirin will come out of solution. So that's all Cassie's going to do right now, is just stir it all up, see if she can make the solution colorless and completely clear, no crystals at all. And then hopefully that aspirin will come out of solution. So if you look at Cassie's technique as she's stirring, she's kind of just poking the stuff down into the solution there and stirring it with the stirring rod. You'll notice she's doing it in the fume hood, and the reason for that is because it is a bit stinky, and often doing it in the fume hood can save us some grief, especially if you're sensitive to acetic acid. Some people are. So Cassie's been stirring this for a couple of minutes. You can see that the solution has become a lot more clear. It's a little bit cloudy still. There are some boiling stones in there, but the boiling stones came from the salicylic acid itself during the recrystallization process. Those weren't removed during crystallization. But those aren't really affecting anything. So you'll notice that this solution is almost pretty much completely clear. She's going to keep on stirring it. Now one other technique that she's going to use here, she's going to take bits of the solution and put them on the side of the flask, just to kind of help aid in crystallization. So she's just kind of, yeah, there we go. And that will, what will happen is eventually aspirin will start to pop out of the solution and it will become slushy, and that's what we're waiting for here. But you do see that it is fairly clear right now. Alright, as you can see, the solution is now pretty much clear, but you'll also notice that where Cassidy took the took the stirring rod and sort of painted the walls a little bit, you can see that there is a bit of solid forming on the side there. And what's going to happen is eventually this will all turn kind of slushy. Why don't you go ahead and see if you can push some of that solid into the solution there, Matt. There we go. Alright, so keep on stirring. So we've been stirring for another 5 minutes here, and you'll notice that the solution now is becoming cloudy. This is the aspirin beginning to come out of solution. So Matt is there, he's diligently stirring that, and wow, it's beginning to become a bit on the slushy side. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on that so you can see the slushiness of it all. Yeah, that's good. Okay, once it gets to that slushiness, we can go ahead and stick that in ice. So we're going to stick this in the ice for 5 minutes. And then after that, we're going to add 50 ml of water to it and filter it. So the aspirin has been sitting in the ice bath for about 5 minutes, and now we're going to add 50 ml of water and stir it around. Now the water is being added to decompose the excess acetic anhydride, and when you're doing the math here, you'll find out that by doing the limiting reagent problem that the salicylic acid here is limiting and the acetic anhydride is the other reagent. And we have to get rid of that somehow. We can do that by adding water to it, and that will decompose it and just leave us with the aspirin floating around in the water solution here. The next step will be to take that and filter it using the Buchner funnel. Let's go ahead and do it. Alright, go ahead Tina and turn it on please. Alright, so we're going to filter the aspirin here. Have you wet the filter paper?
Not yet.
Okay, let's go ahead and wet the filter paper. We're using an aqueous solution here, so water is fine to wet down the filter paper with. I'll just go ahead and show what it looks like. There we go, it's all flat down right now, and now Cassidy is going to swirl and dump. Swirl and dump. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Nice seal there. And now you can see what the crystals look like. Yeah, nice white crystals. We're going to let them sit for a few minutes, probably about 10 minutes or so, because it does have water on it, and then we can weigh it and take a melting point. So it's been filtering for about 10 minutes now, and Cassidy's going to go ahead and take out the solid and put it onto watch glass. Now this is not too bad as far as purity goes. We are going to take a melting point of it as well, and we'll get to see what the melting point is, but it hasn't been recrystallized, so it may not be as pure as what we got for the salicylic acid. But she's going to go ahead there and scrape out the solid, and she's going to make sure she doesn't scrape off the filter paper too much, and then she'll take the mass of that and get a melting point.